Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the annual Apple Awards presented by me, Ethan, from KingEthan Tech. And today we're going to be ranking all of Apple's 2022 products. Yes, all of their lineup that's been released in 2022. Precisely 17 different products have been released in 2022 by Apple, which is a crazy number. And we're going to go rank all of them on a tier list, which ones were the really good ones, which ones were the mediocre ones, and which ones were the ones that were right at the bottom. And if you want to join along with me ranking them, you can head over to kingethantech.com/tier-list and you can grab the template that I've got. But without further ado, let's start at the spring/autumn/March event that they had earlier this year, and we'll start with the iPhone SE. Now, the iPhone SE, I only really realized how small it was the other day when I was going hands-on with it. You can check that short in the shorts feed on my channel. But this is the size of the iPhone SE. This is an iPhone 7 that I've got, and you can see how it's not actually that big. It's only 4.7-inch screen, and the iPhone mini, the iPhone 12 and 13 mini, is actually smaller in body, but actually bigger in screen, which is crazy to think. Sure, this update gave the iPhone SE, the last remaining iPhone with a home button, the ability to use 5G. It gave it a bit more battery life, and the A15 Bionic to put it on the level of the iPhone 13s. However, this phone still uses the outdated iPhone 8 design, which is sort of crippling it in a way. Some people love it, but for me, after using a widescreen iPhone like the iPhone XR that I've got, you sort of can't go back. And so for that reason, I have to go and rank the iPhone SE, if I can find it, here it is, in D tier. Because to be honest, it's not actually that good of an iPhone. Coming up next, we have a chip refresh with the iPad Air 5. It's basically nothing fancy. It's a lot like the iPhone SE that we've just got here, but basically they just put an M1 chip in the iPad Air with the same old design. And so for that reason, I'm also going to go put it in C tier. It's not as bad of a deal as the iPhone SE, but it's not the best of an upgrade, like it's not revolutionary. The Mac Studio also got announced at this event. The Mac Studio was targeted at creative professionals and people who want to use the Mac Pro or powerful Windows computers. And basically Apple is saying, stuff big PCs, we've got a powerful computer that's basically a Mac Mini, but it's just a bit taller. It is such a good computer. You've got the M1 Max and the M1 Ultra chips, and the M1 Ultra is basically two M1 Max chips fused together, which means that it is so powerful. Now, it's not perfect, you can't open it up too easy, and the modular SSD hardware that they've used has actually been restricted by Apple to not make it modular. However, I reckon it's a pretty good computer, and I'm gonna go rank it A tier because for creative professionals, this will be a good machine for them. The studio display that gets bundled with it though is a bit of a different story. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad display. You've got an A13 Bionic inside of it for an ISP, an upgraded webcam, 12 megapixels with center stage. It's 5K. It's not a bad panel, to be honest. However, the price makes the display a bit of a bad deal. It starts at $15.99 USD. And once you upgrade it to like nano textured glass for a $300, and then if you want a height adjustable stand for another $400, then you're up to $2,299. And that's not the $15.99 that it was. And so for that reason, I'm gonna go and rank the Studio display in C tier. I think it's a good money-making scheme from Tim Apple's brain, but for the consumer, it's not actually that good. Right, so let's jump to WWDC now, and we have the MacBook Air M2. The MacBook Air M2 has been redesigned to have it basically have no bezels altogether. It's got a notch up top, and it's got a bigger screen by 0.3 inches. It's got a better webcam. It's actually been flattened out, so it's not tapered anymore. Actually got a MagSafe port now, which means that both USB-C ports can be used for plugging things in rather than using it for power. It's also got the M2 chipset, importantly, and the M2 can be 50% faster than the M1 in some cases. And knowing this is insane. The M1 has so much raw power. Like, I've got an M1 Air, and I can render a Final Cut file in under 5 minutes without a fan inside, which is freaking crazy. The M1 is so powerful, so knowing that the M2 is faster is also insane. So I would have gone and rated it in S tier. However, I'm actually going to go and rank it in A tier, and here's why. If you got the base storage configuration, 256 gig, you would basically have 50% slower SSD speed. So then you would have to go and upgrade to 512 gig, and that would be another $350 US. And that's why I'm ranking it in A tier. I really seriously wanted to go and rate this S tier but unfortunately I'm just gonna have to leave it here in A tier. However, the M2 MacBook Pro is definitely not in A tier. Yes, it's this one. You can hardly tell the difference from the last one, and I'm actually gonna go and rank it in C tier. And here's why. The M1 MacBook Pro was not anything special, but we put it down to how basically Apple don't wanna like go so big with the design and then it all flops down. So they just wanted to play it safe while they were introducing the first gen of their chip. But now this is the second generation, and so a new design would have been nice. However, they literally just stuck with exactly the same design, old bezels, old touch bar, etc, etc. Quite similar to the iPhone SE and the iPad Air that I've already said, that basically it's not that much of an upgrade, and so it can sit in C tier for now. Sticking on this trend, we have the Apple Watch Series 8, which was released in September. To be honest, if you've already got like a Series 7, 6 or one of those sort of ones, don't go and get the Series 8 because it's basically not much. All it basically is some more sensors. So for that reason, I'm going to go and rank the Apple Watch Series 8 in D tier. And the Apple Watch SE is not that much different either, except it gets put in C tier just because the price got lowered down, which is not bad. The Apple Watch Ultra though is cool, and I'm gonna go and rank this in A tier. And this is a cool design. It's a big boy, 49 millimeters, and basically what happened before is if you wanted a titanium Apple Watch, you'd have to pay $850 just to make it titanium. Now with the Apple Watch Ultra, you pay $800 and you get titanium as well as all of these cool workout and dive and all of these features. Your Apple Watch is now a dive computer, which is freaking insane. And since it's so capable, it actually makes sense for people who have Apple Watches from like the Series 5, 6 if you really wanted an upgrade. And so for that, it's sitting at A tier in here. Let's look at the iPhones. Now for me, the normal iPhone 14 is sitting here in C tier. There's basically nothing much different. It's the same chip inside with an extra GPU core enabled, a slightly better camera, and a slightly better battery. So nothing much. The iPhone 14 Plus, I'm gonna go rank in B tier. It's the first B tier of the night because it's basically a lot of the same as the normal iPhone 14, but with a bigger display and a bigger battery. And this phone is great value. It's not that much expensive as like an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you get the bigger screen and the bigger battery, etc. So it's really good value. The iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, I decided to rank in S tier. The iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max are such good value phones. You've got basically one of the best cameras, if not the best camera, in a smartphone of all time. It's a 48 megapixel camera, and some of the camera features are literally amazing. The A16 Bionic is so good and it powers so much, and you've basically got no issues. That phone is gonna last you for years to come. The Dynamic Island increases productivity, and these phones are just so good, and that's why they deserve to be up here in S tier, the best of the best. In other news, we also got a new pair of AirPods at this event, the AirPods 3. Now, I mean, they're nothing special, but they're a really good upgrade, and I'm gonna put them in B tier. The active noise cancellation got some updates, the case got some updates, and so it's not a bad pair of earbuds. I mean, it's nothing major, but it's not bad at all. So it's alongside the iPhone 14 Plus. And then towards the end of October, we got two new iPads. We'll start out with the iPad Pro. I'm also gonna go and rank the iPad Pro's B tier. Because I mean, it's very similar to the iPad Air, and when it's just a chip upgrade from the M1 to the M2. You're basically not going to notice the difference between the M1 and the M2, at least if you're not doing pro things like editing on like DaVinci Resolve on the iPad. But if you are going to do those sort of things, then you definitely will appreciate that extra processing power. The iPad 10th gen on the other end is not very good at all. I'm gonna rank it E tier because it's basically, they had such a good chance to go and make it an awesome budget iPad, but Apple just said, nope, they're gonna make it unaffordable for the target market, schools, students, etc. They're gonna go put a USB-C port in it, and they're only gonna make it Apple Pencil Gen 1 support. And I don't know if you know, but the Apple Pencil Gen 1 has got Lightning on it, and this is a USB-C port. So they're gonna make you use a separate adapter just to use the Apple Pencil, which is so annoying. It was such a missed opportunity. E for emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
And I actually forgot to put this in my video script, but here we've got the Apple TV 4K updated, and I'm also going to go put this in C tier because, I mean, it's an Apple TV, they've gone and updated the processor inside, and I mean, it's not that bad of an Apple TV. So it's good for people who want to consume media, so I'll rank it C tier. Anyways, this is how I've gone and rated it. We've got the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max in S tier. We've got the Mac Studio, MacBook Air, and Apple Watch Ultra in A tier, which is a solid effort. We've got the iPhone 14 Plus, AirPods 3, and the iPad Pro in B tier. We've got the iPad Air, Studio Display, M2 MacBook Pro, Apple Watch SE, iPhone 14, and Apple TV 4K in C tier. Then we've got the iPhone SE and Apple Watch Series 8 in D tier. We've then got the iPad 10th Gen in E tier and nothing in F tier. I don't know what your thoughts were, but I want to hear them. So if you want to comment down below what you ranked them and if you have any suggestions for how you would have ranked it. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you want to see more Apple videos, click the playlist up here. Thanks for coming to the Apple Awards 2022, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.